Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? You are showing me nothing.
Fires, Mike Sims, Walker, knocked down.
Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again.
Jackson takes it himself. Look at him dart back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankles.
I have never seen this before in my life.
Still looking, firing, near corner. It's caught.
Denver, unbelievable.
And welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco.
Hello and welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for an in-depth exploration of all things football. Each week we dissect the highs and lows of last week's games, offering expert analysis, player insight, and memorable moments. I'm the man who's up past his bedtime, Jordan Pryor, and with me are the rising stars of the podcast industry, the man with the uncanny ability to recall bullshit stats, Danny Weber, and the man looking to correctly predict his 8th game in a row, Dan Urbanski. Say hello to the people, y'all.
Hey.
Shalom. The rundown of today's podcast will go like this. In our first segment, we'll each be giving our keys to victory for the team that we choose, or for both, rather. And then in the second segment, we will briefly brush over the Pro Bowl, very briefly, followed by mailbag questions in our first mailbag of that sort on this podcast. So, as always, we ask you to rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Share it with your friends and follow us on social media. We are at @4thdown_pod on Twitter and at Fourth Down Fiasco on TikTok and Instagram. With that, it is 4th down and goal to go, y'all. Excuse me. Are we going to win today?
I mean, it's the last week before the Super Bowl, so we'll find out.
We have no choice at this point but to win.
That's true.
We've got to will it.
We're going to come home with a ring or leave in disappointment?
Well,
at least we made it.
Yeah.
Because none of our teams did, so.
That's just depressing. And that's the episode.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great on Sunday. Whenever we all see each other, and we're all going to be in just our loser jerseys. We need pictures in our loser jerseys.
Yeah, that'll be.
We can make fun of Danny. His team didn't make it.
At least I didn't lose to the Packers.
Yeah. See, Tanner, you set me up. Why am I catching strays right now?
It's okay. Danny's talked shit about my team like his entire life, so.
Yeah, I have to.
It's in his blood.
Yep.
Well, it's actually partially in your blood because half your family's from Pittsburgh, so it's kind of messed up. But
blame my mom for that one.
Danny, I wish.
Oh no, I'm gonna blame your dad because your dad's the one from Cincinnati.
What, Jordan?
I was saying, I wish you could see how your face is frozen on my screen right now. This is beautiful.
We're actually all frozen, so that's good.
Well, the recording, it is what it is at this point. Let's dive into the keys, fellas. Tanner, since you are the current record holder for most games correct in a row, what you got for us?
So, let me look at my chicken scratch. So the 3 things that I have that I think are most important in this matchup between these teams is the most important one, at least for me, is the Chiefs receivers doing well outside of Kelsey. I think if Mahomes can only rely on Kelsey, they're going to struggle a lot during that against that 49ers defense, especially with Kelsey, being older. He's not going to have the stamina to be out there every single drive making plays. I think he's definitely going to outperform than he normally does. But someone needs to step up outside of him, whether that be Rashee Rice or MVS. I mean, somebody else has to at least put some of the pressure off of just Kelsey, because if that can't happen, then they might be dead in the water.
Yeah.
Do you want me to move into my other 2, or are we going to go one by one?
Well, I was going to make a comment on yours because I have something similar. For me, it's Pacheco needs to have solid production. I think especially, last week I had mentioned that KC will be the, drivers of their own destiny if they score first, essentially.
Yeah.
And no matter what, this 49ers team is going to score points on their defense. They just have too many weapons. Even if you're able to get to Brock Purdy and have him make mistakes, they're still going to score points. And so I think if you score first and then you're able to have long, sustained drives, utilizing Pacheco's legs and, plenty of checkdowns to Travis, but also to your point, Tanner, getting some other folks involved, people stepping up. I think that that's going to be really necessary for them to be able to win, because they're going to have to be able to consistently put up points and take hold of that time of possession too.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. My point kind of piggybacks off yours as well, Tanner, just kind of a little bit the opposite direction. I was going to say you have to get Kelce involved in the game plan. Obviously, it's going to happen. It's Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. But if you build a game plan around Kelce, naturally the other receivers will become open.
Someone will open up, yeah.
And Mahomes is good enough to find that open receiver when he needs to. It just depends on if that wide receiver can step up and make the catch, as we've seen this year. They've not been able to. But
and that's why I kind of went the inverse on that, is because we've seen MVS, Kadarius Toney single-handedly blow games for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and
so
I saw a tweet today. The Chiefs are getting really creative on ways to find out how Kadarius Toney is inactive, because I don't know if he actually is inactive. They didn't say who the player was, but where the Chiefs are staying, one of the players for the Super Bowl got attacked by a coyote today or last night.
Oh, I did see that on TikTok. That's crazy.
What? Who got attacked by a coyote?
They didn't say. But the entire comment section was just like, wow, the Chiefs are getting very creative on ways to get Toney out of the offense.
They put him in like northern New Mexico, southern Colorado, and had him get attacked by a bunch of coyotes.
Yep.
My God.
So yeah,
basically they threw him to the wolves.
Yeah. Hopefully that player is
ones.
okay. They didn't say much about it besides that he was just attacked. But
how did he get attacked by a... That's crazy.
Because they're saying out there in Lake Las Vegas or something like that. They're outside of Vegas. The players aren't allowed on the Strip, and so they're just out in the middle of nowhere on a resort.
Yeah, smart.
And there's a coyote wandering the resort, and he found a player.
Man,
dude, shout out to that coyote, man. Punching above his weight class, man. Going after an NFL player. Like, coyotes are kind of small.
Yeah,
they're
like the size of like an Aussie. Yeah,
like that's a ballsy dog, man. Like going after like an NFL linebacker or something. Like, oof.
Yeah, it could have been the backup kicker. Who knows?
Sarah and I actually saw.
That's true.
Sarah and I actually saw a coyote on our hike earlier this week, and it not only was like the same size as one of my dogs, but he looked scared. So that he was pissy. Somebody pissed in his cornflakes that morning. He wanted to fuck somebody up.
Wow.
He woke up and chose violence.
Yeah. So we all had very similar first points. Tanner, you want to start us off with our second?
Yeah. So the next one I got is and we talked about this a lot during the last podcast. The 49ers running game needs to click. Like, they're not going to win if they don't establish the run early and often.
Yeah. The complete opposite of what the Ravens did.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if they run the ball 8 times, they're done. Mm-hmm. So they need the running game to click. They need it to be functional, and they need to rely on it. And if they choose to rely on the running game, it will click. I mean, with Christian McCaffrey in that offensive line, it's going to be fine. You just can't abandon the run. If they abandon the run, they're screwed.
If they abandon the run and lose, coaches need to be fired. You've traded how much for Christian McCaffrey, paid that much for him, and then you're not going to use him in the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I wouldn't have.
He's arguably the best player on that team.
Too.
Oh, easily. One of the best.
Yeah, but the best.
Yeah, you don't pull a Ravens and abandon your identity in a big game.
I don't think Shanahan will. I think that he knows that that's his best bet. I mean, Kansas City's best bet is to, if they can just have an average game stopping the run, that's going to be their best bet, because they're not going to stop CMC. And, even like the specialized like Deebo Samuel run plays that they have and stuff. And like, they just have so many weapons that are good with their legs that no matter what, they're going to rack up some rushing yards. So
yeah, between Ayuk, Samuel, and McCaffrey, they're going to probably rush for a bunch. But if they can keep McCaffrey out of the end zone more than Like, if he only gets one touchdown, I think they have a fairly good chance. But once he gets in multiple times, I feel like I saw a stat recently, like they've lost like 3 games or something like that when McCaffrey's scored more than once.
Yeah. I think you have to keep him completely out of their passing game. I think that you need to be able to take away checkdowns as much as you can, both to him and to Kittle, and force them to beat you with the run, just because that takes up so much clock. So if you, again, in my theory, if they score first, they're in the driver's seat. That's what they have to do is, okay, you want to run? We're going to let you run. We're going to let you run a bunch of time off this clock, and we're just going to stay just one score ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my second point is you have to get pressure on Purdy and contain him. Like we saw last week at the end of that game, he had 2 rushes for 20 plus yards to really solidify the win against the Lions. So if you can get pressure on him and keep him in the pocket, that'll overall just help your game plan, your game overall.
Yeah, if you can get a couple of turnovers, get a pick or two, be really helpful.
Rattle him. He hasn't played in a big game in his career yet. I mean, besides the championship game, but
he's so chill. I don't even think that kind of stuff bothers him. Like I'm not excusing any of his bad games in the past or anything like that, and I think that he's more of like a fringe top 10 quarterback, but still he's just very chill, and he just seems like I got hit, it hurts, I'm gonna get up. I threw my 4th pick, that sucks, I'll get him next game.
But
so I think he'll be fine.
Completely different game. Like your halftime is basically 2 hours long or an hour long or whatever instead of 20 minutes. Like how many times did we hear Brady say like he would completely undress, shower, basically act like the game was over and then just restart the game? It's like you have so much time to cool down, and if you have momentum, that is horrible for your team. God, that dude was a different animal, man. He's just weird.
Crazy, man.
I will be very curious to see how Purdy plays on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
My second key to the game is going to be the Chiefs' offensive line. They've got a really good offensive line, 2 Pro Bowlers, Thuney, Humphrey, and I'm just curious how well they'll do against the likes of, Bosa, Hargrave, even like Warner, Greenlaw, as far as like stopping the run and things
Chase Young.
or run blocking and stuff. Oh yeah, Chase Young, my God. Yeah, it's that 49ers defensive line and
Their
like
front
they're
seven.
Like their front 7 just
He's
disgusting.
unreal.
Yeah, that entire group is probably all Pro Bowlers.
When was the
honestly.
last time we saw a front 7 this brutal? Like Pittsburgh's had some gnarly front 7.
Yeah,
Baltimore's had some
Saxonville.
gnarly front 7. Yeah, Saxonville. Yeah, that whole.
I always love bringing this up because I'm a fucking salty Steelers fan, right? When Saxonville was dubbed Saxonville, the Steelers as a team had more sacks that year than Saxonville did. But, that's all I'm going to say.
Sacks don't equate to wins. Sorry.
No. I mean, they don't, but I'm just saying one of them gets a nickname for having a bunch of sacks, and there's another team who had more than them that year.
Has always had a lot of
that.
sacks. Yeah, like they had the steel curtain for how many years? Like they're like your defense is.
Yeah, y'all
your team is built around defense.
It's a blessing and a curse.
I know.
Yeah, y'all even had some incredible people in the secondary too. Like it's not just y'all's front 7. Y'all have just had some just badass defenses through and through. Yeah. But yeah, again, I think the offensive line, it's really going to come down to that, especially if you want to get Pacheco going. On top of Mahomes is the kind of guy that if you give him time, he can make something happen, even with shit wide receivers. It's possible, and so give him as much time as you can. Make sure that there are big gaps for Pacheco, and do your best to stave off the very frightening front 7 that the 49ers have.
Mahomes will do everything he can to give his team the best chance to succeed. Going back to a couple minutes ago, it will fully depend on their wide receivers.
100%. All right. Well, my last key that I have is it again also relates to Purdy, kind of like Danny's. But what my take is it for what Purdy needs to do is he needs to play conservative and smart with the football. So what that means is when Purdy's off, he's off, right? He's throwing a lot of picks. He's throwing a lot of dangerous passes. I don't think to beat the Chiefs in this scenario, you need to have big shot plays. I think you just need to control the time of possession. And as long as Purdy is playing smart in the pocket, he's taking his dump off, he's taking the smart kind of plays, the running game that they're going to have, he doesn't have to do anything above his weight class. And if he starts trying to play above his weight class and he tries to win the game with his arm, it's going to go bad. So I think the big thing is just Purdy, having maybe like a 25-30 completion game for only like 180 yards.
Yeah.
I think that's the 49ers' best chance of winning. Because if he's trying to air it out, I don't think you can air it out against that Chiefs defense, and you want to rely on the run. So you just take the tough 3rd and 3s, you do those type of check down plays, those dump offs, and you play that type of offensive football, and I think you're gonna beat the Chiefs in that scenario.
Yeah, if you can keep the
play
game
clean.
Yeah, if you can keep the game within a possession and just kind of control the time, and just methodically work your way down the field,
you're going to be fine. Yeah, and that's another thing. You can't give Mahomes extra possessions.
Oh, not at all.
If you start turning the ball over and you're giving Mahomes an extra possession, you're in a bad spot. You're in a bad spot.
Well, last week we saw Purdy throw a couple throws that were somehow they were caught, but they were some of the ugliest throws I've seen in a while. There was one. What was it? Jennings,
the Ayuk.
Oh, that one and the number 15 for like 3 yards, where he like rolled out to the
Jennings.
left. He rolled out to the left, then off his back foot threw across his body to the middle of the field, and Jennings just jumped up, one-handed it like right in front of the defender, and the defender had no clue like the ball was even close to him. But like you can't be throwing across the field on this Chiefs defense, especially in the middle.
No. Not at all.
Yeah, there's just no need for a hero ball.
No.
You have a potential MVP running back. Dude, let him carry you to the finish line.
Yeah.
You're on a rookie deal. Enjoy it. Let people carry you and go get that dub, big fella.
His bonus, I think his bonus for winning the Super Bowl is more than his contract.
My gosh.
Just the NFL bonus in general, I think it's $1 million if you win the Super Bowl.
Good for him. Maybe he can finally not live with a roommate.
Well, he gets bonuses for every playoff win, so like per NFL contract agreement. So he's making some pretty pennies in the playoffs.
Good for him.
Yeah. But
I didn't have a third key. Those were my two main keys because the other one would be score first, but I've said that since the last podcast. So, yeah.
My third it'll go for both teams. Be aggressive, but don't be Dan Campbell aggressive. Like, if it's if there's a 4th and 2 and you have a play that will get you 2.5 yards, run it. But don't be dumb about it. Just come in. Like, if you have momentum, run it. If you're already on the back foot, at that point you're like, why? Like, you don't have any of the momentum. Just punt it away. Reset your defense.
Take the points.
Take the field position. Like, don't give Mahomes and the Chiefs a short field. Like, they can already work you on a long field. Don't give them a short field because it's a guaranteed 3.
I mean, we are dealing with probably the best 2 coaches currently in the NFL, and Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. So, I think that they're going to do a better job of, again, understanding things in context, because that's, the main thing here is it wasn't necessarily that it was bad that Detroit went for it on 4th in some situations and not in others and anything like that. It was they made all the wrong choices on it. Yeah. And that was what was so upsetting. So, but I think that they're both, Reed and Shanahan are both a little bit more calculated, at least at this juncture in their careers, than Dan Campbell. Not saying he can't get there, but I think that they're just a little bit more polished right now.
Agreed. They know when to fold them and know when to hold them.
Yeah. Yeah. Good reference. Was that all the keys that y'all had for both teams?
Yeah.
Win the special teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special teams, turnover battle, however that looks.
We've seen a lot of Super Bowls change just by special teams. It's an underrated part of the game people don't kind of forget about.
I mean, that Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, and what was that, 2018? I mean, that literally was just a special teams battle.
Besides that one big Gronk catch that set up the only touchdown.
And the Edelman catch, too. Because I think Edelman ended up winning Super Bowl MVP that year. Which I'm still upset about, man. I should have put money. I was like, he had low odds. I'm like, dude, I should put some money on it. I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's okay. It happens.
Well, with the exclamation of Kent State, that is my cue. That it is time to send it to commercial break. So we will talk with y'all again when we return right after this.
This podcast is sponsored by Hair Club.
Fellas, are you losing your hair? Hairline receding, maybe? In the past, we as men had limited options. We could either rock the grandpa hairline, shave it, or resort to a very obvious-looking toupee. Well, the good news is there's an option for you now. Hair Club is a hair restoration and hair replacement service with offices spanning across the United States. Hair Club is different from other hair restoration places because they use cutting-edge technology like TricoView hair and scalp analysis, utilizing micromagnification to examine hair and scalp health. This provides better diagnostics of your hair and determines solutions to stop your personal hair loss. Solutions range from EXT extreme hair therapy to keep and regrow your existing hair by reactivating follicles and adding volume, X-Strands hair systems that is color and texture matched to perfection to blend with the rest of your hair, or even hair transplant solutions for those who are further along in their hair loss. I personally use the X-Strand system and have never turned back. My wife thinks I'm as sexy as ever and my confidence is at an all-time high, but I'm just a podcaster, right? Well, Hair Club has become such a renowned name that even dudes like two-time NASCAR champion Joey Logano and primetime Emmy nominee Frankie Muniz both utilize Hair Club services. And if you ultimately decide on a service, be sure to use the code FOURTH, that's FOURTH, for 10% off everything you purchase. And get this, Hair Club is currently running a promotion for the month of January, and all their services are 20% off. So you can stack those savings with the code for a total of 30% off of your final purchase. There's no better time to get your hair back than now. So fellas, boost your confidence, get that look you want. Go to hairclub.com today.
Are you looking for a podcast to advertise your business? Well, you're in luck. Here at the Fourth Down Fiasco, we're looking for show sponsors. Whether you want to be a platinum sponsor and be mentioned at the beginning and end of every episode, or you just want a simple 30 or 60-second ad, we got you covered. If you're interested in having a spot on our show, you can reach us at fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. That's fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. We are excited to hear from you and even more excited to have you on the show. Join the Fiasco family now.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fourth Down Fiasco. We are going to kick off the podcast, well, the second kickoff, not the first kickoff, to talk about the Pro Bowl. I don't know, about as briefly as we can, right? Not. I mean, what did you guys, impression-wise? I know we talked a little bit about it. Well, you guys talked a little bit about it last week. I dipped, but. Impression-wise of the games that we saw outside of the flag football game, what did you guys think about it? Was it better than what we've had in the last few years?
I don't know.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch the Pro Bowl.
I saw some highlights. I saw the passing.
Yeah, I saw the kicking highlights, and I was not impressed, honestly.
The six quarterbacks they had for the precision skill challenge, they're mid to bottom tier quarterbacks.
Micah Parsons did better in the quarterback skills challenge than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Dan Orlovsky outscored every single quarterback in dress clothes. Like, how, you just pulled a guy off
and stayed in bounds while he did it.
Like, he killed it, and I think it was the only one to hit like the big 10-point throw too. Like,
I think so.
He nailed it in the big bucket. Like, how do you let that happen? I know he played quarterback, but you guys are.
But the other guys are playing quarterback. You know, the other guys are actually doing it right now.
But hey, Baker Mayfield won. So.
Shut up.
Yep, our Lord and Savior Baker Mayfield.
I don't know why they let Jason Kelsey try the long snap challenge. He made one.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, this was.
I saw him like halfway twerking whenever he was on the little whenever they were doing the sleds.
That was actually a strategic move. He was.
Oh.
Yeah, if you pull forward and pull back, you're helping with the weight of the sled.
Oh, that's smart. I was over there thinking he was just throwing ass, bro. I was like, okay.
It was a strategy call. It worked out, but it did look like he was throwing it back.
Yeah, I was like, go, Jason! It's your birthday. Like, it was a good time.
Yeah. But yeah, flag football. What was it? 64-59. That was.
It also was kind of. They didn't really look like they were trying.
Oh, no,
to be honest.
No.
Because a big thing that they mentioned was it was like, okay, people are going to actually try this time around because we're putting money on it. If you win, you're going to get 800,000, and if you lose, you're only going to get 400,000.
Oh.
You can just sleepwalk your way into 400,000. Who gives who cares about the other?
Play for 4 hours and just run around a field for 400K. I'm sold.
Yeah. No, I thought the game sucked. Honestly, I watched some of it, and I honestly don't even know if I watched the second half of it.
They need to do something with this Pro Bowl. It was atrocious. The viewership probably was not very good. I don't know.
I always compare it to the All-Star break in the NBA. I think the All-Star game in the NBA is a ton of fun. I don't think it's amazing, but I actually enjoy watching the All-Star game for the NBA, and I like the competitions and things they do with. Before the All-Star game, the rookie game and the dunk contest and all that stuff. I enjoy All-Star break for the NBA, but the Pro Bowl is just so I
think it's easier to have better events for an NBA All-Star break than football, because you can do a lot more with a lot less.
You definitely can, yeah.
But hold on one sec. I can't hear Jordan.
Oh, no, I can't hear him either.
He got up. Nope.
He might actually just be he might just be purposely doing this because we're talking about the Pro Bowl, right? He's like, I'm not doing this section.
Oh, I can't hear it. My bad.
Yeah, let's have Tanner do the return from ad break because I ain't coming back for this podcast.
Yeah, he's gone. But, hey, at least, once again, Baker Mayfield won MVP of the Pro Bowl, too. So...
Dude, he's racking up the trophies.
He's winning the only
Pro Bowl MVP, the MVP. Dude.
Hello?
Oh, there he's go. We're back.
Oh, he's back.
Hey, I'm back.
But yeah, Baker has.
You didn't kill enough time. We're still on the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, we're talking about Baker Mayfield now, though. So, but Baker has a Heisman, a Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player, the Pro Bowl MVP, and the Passing Skills Challenge champion. I don't know what other trophies he really needs. That's a solid career.
That's a career. Yeah.
I think something that maybe they could do in the future because I think part of the problem, is just you just don't get a high level of any type of effort whatsoever. I mean, at least in the NBA All-Star game, yes, there's no defense, but guys are still doing monstrous dunks and shooting half-court shots and shit. And it's, still high energy, a lot of running, at least they're getting cardio in. Or guys were jogging in this game on plays, bro. So I don't know, maybe you start figuring out a way to make a 7-on-7 with, the best first and second year guys or best rookie deal guys and give them the cash considerations instead. I bet you could probably get some better football out of that than
I think they should take away money.
Yo,
if you lose $800,000.
That is diabolical.
Dude, they would be putting in some effort though. People would be blindsided.
People would be balling.
And
you had the chance to lose $800,000 over a flag football game.
It's kind of a weird thing to say because every sport has this type of competition for the best players.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the NFL honestly can just get rid of it.
It's pointless.
And,
make it a banquet, bro. Raise some money for a charity.
Yeah, I would even just prefer, just a segment on ESPN during the bye week of the Super Bowl that shows what all the people did for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. What has everybody been doing? that's
briefly
more
showed the top
entertaining.
three. They showed the top 3, but show the other 29.
Yeah. Or, I mean, maybe they do it like Major League Baseball and maybe not have it the week before the Super Bowl, but, winning side dictates home field advantage. I don't know. I think that the MLB was smart for making that a thing.
They got rid of it, though.
This past year?
It's been that way.
For how long?
A while.
Huh. Lame. Okay, burn all the All-Star games.
Yeah.
Except for the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, no, I was about to say I like the NBA one.
Yeah.
Like that's
the rest of them trash the rest of them.
Hockey wasn't bad actually.
I was literally just about to say that. We were on the same wavelength. The NHL one's actually kind of fun. But the thing about the NHL is the NHL is arguably like the best run like of the major 4, but it's hockey, so nobody cares.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is unfortunate because hockey's fun.
It is fun.
Go Capitals.
Talking about the last
Oh, no. Really?
You weren't expecting that one, were you?
Wait, no. You like the Capitals?
Unfortunately.
Oh, God. I could look past the Cowboys thing, but the Cap? Ugh.
It's a long story, okay?
Let's talk about the last professional
we need it.
weekend real quick. Major League Soccer, the MLS. They do something completely different than every other team. They put all their all-stars on one team, and then they go play a team from Europe. They bring them into the States. I think they've lost every single year, but
that's so bad.
It's different.
For football though, that'd be so funny.
Yeah, bring in
the ELF, bro.
Bring in the elf or like the best champion, the reigning UFL team. Like,
they would get 100 piece.
Even a college team, like, just switch it up a little bit.
You would ruin some kid's scholarship. You can't do a college team.
I think is it Rice? I don't know if you guys know about this, but I think it's Rice. Rice at the end of each year, like their seniors, will go play in Japan against a Japanese team.
Is it Rice or
for
Yale?
their bowl game? It might be Yale. It's one of those schools, one of the smart schools.
Or it might be the Ivy League All-Stars.
Yeah, it's something like that. But they'll go to Japan and play in Japan for their bowl game instead of doing a bowl game, which I think is super cool.
They lost this year.
I know, yeah.
Because the starting quarterback for Japan's from California.
That's awesome.
He didn't look Japanese, I can tell you that much.
It must have been a military brat. He must have been a tanner.
Yeah. But he could have probably played college ball here, but he was like, I'm in Japan, so
I ain't leaving, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the first time Japan ever won, I think.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
They've only done it 2 years, so yeah. But no, I think it's a really cool thing to do, and I think more sports should do stuff like that.
It builds such a worldwide audience. And NFL doesn't care about worldwide; they already control the football world, anyways.
Yeah,
but
they should branch to Japan more because Japan does care about their sports. Like,
true.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're getting really big into baseball.
Yeah,
and then like they're starting to get that way. Yeah, they've always been into baseball, but they're starting to get that way about football now too. And
that's true.
Korea does the same too.
The whole world is kind of getting into football, like actually getting into football now.
Yeah, they're catching up. They realize soccer's boring.
Yeah. We had like
I'm sorry.
Wow. We had
that was way louder than it needed to be.
Like we had NFL Europe owned by the NFL for quite a bit, but now we have actual leagues. Like each European country has their own league. Now for the last 3 years, this is the start of their 4th year. They have an actual European football league, like we've talked about many times already on this podcast. But
don't piss off potential fans, Tanner.
But I will say
I won't talk too much shit about soccer, but I'm just saying watch hockey instead.
It's like
just faster paced soccer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair.
Fair. But I will say
and they fight.
That's true. The Eagles are opening up the season in Brazil, so at least we're expanding out into other countries now.
That's cool.
Like
they just didn't want to bring that stanky ass offense into America again, bro. That's what it was.
We'll see how many players come back from Brazil.
Yeah, they might be playing the Steelers. There's like 3 choices because they don't want to have a conference game out of the States. No. So the Steelers are one of the choices. But yeah, we're in Mexico City, Germany, London, and Brazil now. Am I missing one?
That's cool. Is it in Rio de Janeiro or is it in Santiago?
I think it's Rio.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. But yeah, all in all, Pro Bowls, get rid of them except for basketball and hockey.
Cool.
And let
Works for me,
soccer
man.
keep losing to the European teams. But yeah, that's fine.
All right. Do we have any last comments about the Pro Bowl, or are we ready to move into our
Nah,
mailbag?
I'm good.
All right. Sweet. So, are we going to kick it to another commercial break, or are we good to go?
I think we're just
No, we're good to go. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Again, if you want to sponsor us, listen to that first ad break so
And
you know
email
where to
us.
go and to contact us at our email. So then we will feel more motivated to add a second ad break instead of using, the two sponsors we got. So we're going to move into our mailbag. And this I'm really excited about. And I'm sure both of you guys, we've talked about it. We're all excited to, kind of form a little bit more of a community here and get, our audience involved into the podcast. We want you guys to have a voice here too. Because again, we are the most definitive version of loose expert analysis. So your opinions are probably just as valued as ours. So we definitely want to hear back from us. So we're going to kick it off. And the first one we're going to go over is a buddy of mine sent this in. His name's Tyler Dobson. And he asked, what do you think about the officiating of the 2006 Super Bowl? And now, before we get into my opinions about the 2006 Super Bowl, at working in behavioral health, this is called a baiting statement. So what this is meant to do is this is meant to, rile me up and get me, upset and to cause an argument. A lot of, toddlers and young children do this to their parents in order to get them as riled up as they are, So I will say this about the 2006 Super Bowl. It was not a fairly officiated game. There was definitely some weird calls that went towards the Steelers' way, but it is not even in the top 5 of worst officiated playoff games. And I will tell you that because I have 5 examples that I think are all worse than the 2006 Super Bowl. So at number 5, and I went deep in my bag for this, so we got some things pre-2000 here. So at number 5, we have the Burt Emanuel no catch in the 2000 NFC Championship game between the Rams and the Bucks. So Burt Emanuel comes down with the catch for the Bucks. He pins this ball against his chest and he rolls after he pins it while maintaining possession. They rule it as a no catch. The Rams end up going to the Super Bowl based off of that game. Number 4 is a more famous game. It was the 1998 NFC wildcard game between the 49ers and the Packers. This was the catch version 2. However, before T.O. got that catch, arguably one of the best playoff catches ever, Jerry Rice clearly fumbles the ball on that possession. The refs just don't even see it. 49ers win. Number 3, and this one's going to appeal to Jordan. This is the 2015 NFC divisional game between the Packers and the Cowboys, right?
Oh, man. What happened then?
And we know exactly what happened then. Des Bryant comes down with a ball, and then we ask the question for the next 5 years.
He caught that shit.
We still don't even know what a catch is, and they spent the entire offseason
But he caught that shit. That's all that matters. He caught it.
But they're like, oh, in the offseason, we're going to define a catch. And they still haven't defined a catch.
So right now, that's 5, 4, and 3. All 3 of those games I do think are worse officiating grievances than the 2006 Super Bowl calls. And number 2 is the Saints no call in the 2018 NFC Championship game between them and the Rams, where there's clearly PI. Nickel Roby-Coleman just lays out Tommy Lee Lewis, just fucking obliterates him. Looked clean.
It was clean. What are you talking about?
Looked clean. Rams go to the Super Bowl.
It was uncatchable.
And then yeah, exactly. And the worst officiated game that I have is the Tuck rule.
Oh, yeah.
The 2001 AFC divisional game. Brady clearly fumbles the ball. Raiders would have won that game. That's clear and cut. And the reason I have all 5 of these games listed is because these calls clearly impacted the game and favored another team. Do you guys remember the final score of the 2006 Super Bowl?
21-10.
No, I was 9 years old. I didn't watch football like that back then, bro.
But Danny got it. It's 21-10.
Of course, so Danny knew what it was. Danny had his notebook out and was writing notes for it at 7 years old.
Yeah. Oh, man. But regardless, if you change all of those calls in the Seahawks' favor, the Steelers still win the Super Bowl.
I found an article. An official came out after the Super Bowl game and said there were 2 key calls he missed in the fourth quarter that totally impacted the game in the Steelers' favor. And he said it left him with sleepless nights afterwards and that he'll go to his grave regretting that he wasn't better during this game.
And again, I agree. I never disagreed with this. I think the officiating was bad. I'm just saying there are 5 games that were clearly worse than this example.
Well, even like the Bengals Steelers 2015, was it 2015 in Cincinnati?
Where Vontaze Burfict took off Antonio Brown's head.
There was so many weird calls that happened in that game. The Bryant touchdown catch where he pinned it to his butt or whatever like that as he was flipping out of bounds. That's still not a catch. I looked at that so many times. I cannot tell where he got 2 feet down with control.
No, trust me. I've watched that one very closely. He got it.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's over now, but even your coach being on the field and not being flagged.
Joey Porter.
Yeah. And then pushing our player and then we push back and we get flagged for it. Your coach isn't even allowed on the field. But that's.
I will say that the officiating in the 2006 Super Bowl wasn't even the worst officiated playoff game of 2006. We're going to have to switch sports for that, but the Dallas Mavericks got completely screwed over in 2006.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually found out about it and arrested people because people were betting on the games that were refs, and there's now a New York Times bestseller about it. So we want to talk about pain.
So we're talking that sports are rigged? Hold up.
Also, just a thing to add to it. Is it Scott Fisher that was involved in that, or his best friend was involved in that, the current NBA ref?
I think it was Scott Fisher, yeah.
Yeah. Still officiating games. Crazy, right?
Nothing happened.
Let's go, baby. I loved Rick Sports.
Regardless, is there any more comments that we have about the 2006 Super Bowl?
None.
That one, that was it.
Yeah. So, if you're ever looking out for behaviors, that is what a baiting statement is. So, just in case any of you have kids, you're wondering what your kids are doing, that's typically what a baiting statement would look like. You. Yep. Our next question comes from good old Jesse Leininger, and he's at is Jess Unchained. Shout out to Django. And he actually gave us 2 questions. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen European swallow?
21 miles an hour.
24 miles per hour.
24.
But Danny, what was the fastest ever European swallow?
46 miles an hour. Or for all of our Europeans, 74 kilometers an hour. That bird was humming. Or flying.
Might be the
No, because if it was humming, it would have been a hummingbird.
He was flying at 46 miles an hour. Pun intended.
Yeah. And then moving on to his real question, is Deshaun ever going to be worth the amount of money he's getting paid? If not, how screwed are the Browns and for how long?
Long time.
Yeah. Brown's going to brown.
They since it's guaranteed, they are in trouble for a long time. They can defer for as long as they want, but it's going to bite them in the butt at some point. But
so I went ahead when we got asked this question. I'm like, okay, well, let me look at their cap situation, right? This year, they're not losing any key free agents. They're losing a couple of guys that they're going to miss. They're going to probably lose Darius Smith, Shelby Harris, Jakeem Grant's not really that important. Joe Flacco, they may be able to get him back on a vet minimum. They're probably losing Kareem Hunt, Rodney McLeod. Nothing extreme. Right, Harrison Bryant's another one who's also might be going.
They can lose Hunt, but they get Chubb back.
Yeah, they'll get Chubb back, so it's not really that much. But again, those aren't really huge free agents to lose.
Yeah.
However, in the coming years, that's going to get a lot worse. So I think the next year is if Deshaun can develop, the Browns could potentially do something next year, but next year's really their last shot. And then after that, they're screwed until 2027. Because that is when Deshaun can finally get cut for an $8 million cap hit. But before then, the cap hit that you get if you cut him is hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
So they're in a tough spot. And I don't think Deshaun's ever going to be worth the amount of money he's been getting paid. He would have to be an MVP caliber quarterback for 2 to 3 years, and I don't think he's got that.
He has.
Well, if he at least is an MVP, if he's a top 5 MVP quarterback talent person for the years he's under contract, then you can at least argue it, right?
Mm-hmm. They have to win something. They can't just win a wild card game and call it good. They need to get to the championship game or the Super Bowl, and he needs to compete at a high level because that money, that is a lot of money. And for the first 2 seasons, he's barely played.
I mean, he's been awful when he has played too.
He's been bad. He can't even check the ball down.
He seems like a little heavy, like something's really weighing him down, Tanner got it.
I'm not even going to get into that. I was getting, never mind. Let's move on to our next question.
I will say the NFL all prison team starting to look pretty stacked. Got Deshaun, Ray Lewis, Ray Rice,
Aaron Hernandez.
All that just leads to Adam Sandler and Michael Irvin, bro.
Ruggs?
It's gonna be crazy.
What the Raiders running
Ruggs?
Wide receiver?
Yeah. I mean, he's fast.
It's a solid team.
Yeah, the all prison.
You got 2 great quarterbacks: Ben Roethlisberger, Deshaun Watson. All right, let's go on to another Steelers fans question. Maxwell Weber at Weber5ever. Or what were you saying?
Go for it.
I was just going to ask: Is Maxwell your dad or your brother?
Neither.
Really, bro? Who is Max, bro?
It's our friend from college.
Our college roommate.
With no relation.
Yeah, well, what's actually really funny is I think he was supposed to be my roommate freshman year, but I had like a mix-up right before school started. But yeah, we had a class together, and the teacher was convinced we were twins, and we were like, we're not twins. But our birthdays are 4 days apart. You guys don't even
look similar.
Yeah.
No.
Sick.
4 days apart, pretty funny, and you guys are also
tall,
dating people that are related to each other. Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out.
Just kind of weird. Yeah, you guys got too much going on there.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Danny and his variant. Got it. What did
my other?
Actually, maybe you're the variant. What did? Oh, okay, no, he's the variant. Okay, what did Danny's variant ask us?
What are your thoughts on the recent hires, specifically Harbaugh with the Chargers and Arthur Smith with the Steelers?
I think Harbaugh with Justin Herbert is going to be a spectacle. I couldn't tell you how good the Chargers are going to be because there's a lot of things that they got to fix, I feel like. But they're going to put up points, and it's going to be Justin Herbert is going to have a hell of a stat line.
I feel like Harbaugh's going to have a very similar career to Dan Campbell, where they have the number 1 scoring offense but the worst defense.
Yeah.
I
could see that as well.
Yeah,
but
like last year the Lions were they finished second or something like that in scoring offense, but they were dead last in scoring defense. And with this Chargers team, I could see that happening. They have a very good offense, but a very bad defense.
I mean, it would be huge if the Chargers get a good offense though, because they just haven't had anything good.
No, yeah. They have players that can be good.
Justin Herbert has good hair. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
true.
You're not wrong. He can throw the ball pretty well too. Yeah. But
kind of looks like my friend Kyle. It's weird.
Interesting.
Shout out Kyle.
Yeah, shout out Kyle.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, except for Kyle's like 5'3", so they're like a foot apart from each other. But yeah. Yeah.
But then Arthur Smith with the Steelers, I'm not a big fan of that hire. I don't like Arthur Smith. He's already very conservative with offensive play callings, and you just got rid of a conservative OC, and like you see him struggle with the quarterback room already with the Falcons, and you guys don't have a quarterback room. It's like he's going from the exact same situation to this situation. But
yeah,
he just doesn't be a head coach.
With Arthur Smith, I am happy we went out of the organization for an offensive coordinator hire.
Yeah,
that is the one thing I like about it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else I'm not convinced about. I mean, people say like, oh, when he was OC with the Titans, Ryan Tannehill had the best seasons there. Ryan Tannehill's best seasons were okay.
He also had AJ Brown at that point,
and he also had a prime one of the best wide receivers, yeah, and the best receiver and the best running back in the league.
Yeah,
and it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, if we look like the teams that the Titans were rolling out for a couple of years there, that doesn't feel a whole lot different than what the Steelers have been doing in the last couple of years since Ben retired.
Do you remember this? The Titans had the 1 seed one year?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
They're just like, oh, we'll just stumble into the 1 seed at 12-4.
Yeah, it was a weird year.
All right. Like, that was Arthur Smith's offense.
Yeah.
They had an amazing defense and a pretty solid offense.
And the thing about it is, it just feels like it doesn't feel like it moves the needle at all. Like, it feels like it's more the same. Like, okay, we're going to be relying heavily on our run game. We've been doing that.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to throw to tight ends.
We're not going to throw to tight ends. We've been doing that. It doesn't change how our offense really looks at all, I think. I mean, and what I really dislike about the hire is it's not going to develop Pickett or Rudolph at all.
Yeah.
And I was hoping we were going to get when we were interviewing Cliff Kingsbury, I kind of liked the idea of bringing in Cliff Kingsbury, because the thing about Kingsbury is, like, yeah, he wasn't great as a coach, but he runs the air raid offense, and I thought that he could have been pretty good for the development of either Pickett or Rudolph.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was kind of hyped about that. I was like, yeah, I think Cliff Kingsbury would be a great hire, and I think it would be really good for developing our quarterback room and giving us a new identity on offense, bringing us into the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
But Arthur Smith still keeps us in the freaking 70s, where
and
I don't know.
Yeah, now Cliff Kingsbury gets to go play with the Commanders in their new whole. I'm so curious what Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury are going to bring to
I don't like it. I don't like seeing Dan Quinn in freaking maroon and yellow. It is disgusting. It should be illegal. It is a terrorist act against this country.
The Commanders' offense isn't horrible. Yes, they won 4 games, but I was talking to Jordan the other day. I was like, I could have sworn it looked like they could have won more than 4. Like, they were in a lot of games.
Definitely. Yeah.
But, like,
so wait, what happened to Eric Bieniemy? He was the OC.
Quinn didn't want him. He bet on himself to get the head coaching job this year because he came to the Commanders, and then he didn't get it, and Quinn said goodbye.
So is Eric Bieniemy's out of a job right now?
Yep.
And we hired Arthur Smith?
Yep. Well, it was like the last day or two that he got cut. Like it was yeah. Like I wanted Bieniemy to be our head coach before Taylor came over. But we just promoted from within. And I like Dan Pitcher. He's worked with Burrow his whole career. So they're on the same page.
You don't really want to change that. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't mind bringing Eric in because Pitcher would still be our QB coach. But I don't mind what the Bengals did with their OC position. It's not a huge step forward, but it's not a step back either.
Yeah.
But I talking about the Titans from before, I really like their hire of Callahan.
Bengals
OC. I've always liked him as our OC, and if Taylor did for whatever reason leave, I wanted him to be our head coach. So I'm very curious to see what he does with the Titans in turning around.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting for sure.
I'll be curious to see how he handles all the situations there with Henry, Tannehill, Levis, and just their whole.
Well, I mean, Derrick Henry's about to become a Cowboy, so it's not like it really matters.
Okay. Just like T. Higgins is about to become a Cowboy.
Good.
He could.
No, the Bengals are going to tag him. That's what we do.
I am interested. I think the Titans are going to be a fun team to look out for next season. Just because I think, and I don't think that it's going to be a fun team to look out for in terms of like they're going to be good. I just think this is where you finally let go of the old guard, get young, and rebuild while the rest of your division is good.
It'll be exciting. They're not going to be as good as the Texans as fast, but they're going to. Hopefully, they go Texans route, young, quick.
Rebuild over the next 2 to 3 years, though, and you might see some regression from those other three teams. It might be worth going through that period.
It'll be interesting to see. It's a good hire. I'm sad we lost him, but I'm glad to see you got a head coaching job.
All right, let's move on to our next one. So our next one comes from Adrian Hernandez at Adrian Hernandez 32. Who should the Broncos draft with the 12th pick?
I think that they need a quarterback, but the problem is the quarterback that will be available will be JJ McCarthy.
It's a tough one.
I don't think that really helps them out any, and that's.
I think they go with best player available. They
should. Yeah. I don't think they will, but they should.
I could see them going offensive line. Their offensive line still needs a lot of help. They have a very solid defense. Their front seven, I guess, is lacking as well. Their secondary is good.
They need depth.
Yeah. So
they need a lot of things.
They need a lot of things, but it's weird. You usually can pinpoint like exactly what a team needs, but when the glaring hole is a franchise quarterback at the middle of the first round, it's a weird spot to take him. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I'm just saying best O-line or best defensive player available.
I'm in the same boat with that. However, I don't think you're going to get the best offensive or defensive line at 12. I think most of those guys, I think the top 2 to 3 guys are going to be gone at both those positions already by the time of the 12th pick. So I think, honestly, since they need a lot of things on defense, I say you just take the best corner because you're probably going to have your choice at corner. Like, I don't think any corner goes before 12. And when I looked at the draft list, I don't have it up right now, but the picks before them, those teams don't really need a corner.
Yeah.
So I
With
think
the exception
that
of the Chargers.
Yeah, but I don't know. But the Chargers need a lot, so I don't know if they go corner. Yeah. I think Chargers are probably going to go receiver.
Probably.
Honestly.
Allen's getting old.
Yeah.
But
so
pairing a cornerback with PS2, like you could create a no-fly zone.
No, exactly. And I think you're going to have your top option. And so you're going to either take Terrion Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean,
Yeah. I've seen a couple mock drafts with them taking defensive back, and I would not be mad with that pick if I was a Broncos fan.
Dude, we got a chance this year for the first corner to come off the board to be White. Isn't that crazy?
An Iowa defensive back.
What has happened?
Bro, I know Will Compton is at his computer just like waiting for that pick so he can get that tweet off, bro.
Team White is back.
Team White, we are halfway back. Woo!
All right.
You want to read off the next one, Daniel?
Sure. Or Jordan, is this your buddy?
Yeah, actually, this is my friend Matt Waku. Shout out to my boy Matt Waku, aka Blacksby. He's got 3 questions for us. Let me see. I guess they're all different ones, huh? All right.
Let's just run them one by one. Yeah.
What is your most anticipated team for the 2024 season?
That's a good question. Jordan, you want to start us off?
I'm going Texans.
It's kind of it's a hard question because it almost feels like it has to be the Texans, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go different. I'm not going Texans, but Tanner, are you going Texans?
I'm going to think about it for a second. I'm going to mill it over, but Texans are the one that jump out to me.
I'm going with a team that was bad that I think can turn it around. Like they have a lot of stuff that could go right where they could make a little bit of noise, especially with the division they're in and the Falcons. Like get them a decent quarterback. That's a pretty exciting team you have there.
Did they hire a head coach yet?
They did, but I forget who. Let's see real quick.
There have been so many coaching changes this season.
Raheem Morris.
Oh, yeah. And I like Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
He did well in LA, and I think if he could persuade a free agent quarterback to come his way for a season or two, they can make some noise, and especially that division. It's just garbage.
It is.
Yeah.
No, I think the Falcons. Another one that I just thought about that I thought would be interesting too would be the Cardinals.
Oh. Yeah.
I think at their draft position and kind of how good they looked with Kyler Murray towards the end of the season, I think they're going to be able to garnish a little bit more in free agency, because I think people see that they're not too far away. At least NFL free agents will. So I think the Cardinals could be a pretty interesting team to look out for, and we'll see. But I feel like you could almost say that about the Cardinals every season, and they end up having 4 wins.
You could say it about
Shout out to Kyler Murray, Allen High School alum. Woohoo. A up, since you guys always say Kent State. Let's go Eagles. Caw.
We're not talking about our high school, but okay.
Is that where you went to?
Yeah.
Him and Murray went to the same high school.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but you could say the Commanders could be a little bit anticipating as well.
True.
Like any team with a new head coach, it's always interesting to see what happens.
And I mean, Dan Campbell is a good coach, and he's a good culture guy too. So
the Lions,
yeah, I think that he'll get those boys ready.
Yeah.
They can enjoy second place and kick out the Eagles, and it'll be great.
And then you lose to them in the championship game.
That's progress.
That's true.
Yeah, I was like doing the math in my head. I was like, actually, championship game sounds great right now.
All right, who do you think will have a good draft this season?
I'm going to go Commanders, honestly, on that one.
I'm going to go Bears just because they have 2 first-round picks.
They have a lot of capital.
And they have a lot of capital. And I think Caleb Williams is honestly a lock, and I think he's probably just going to be good. So
I am still not on that Williams train.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun to see. It's going to be fun to see who ends up being right, because then we can hold it over the other one, right?
Yeah, about a quarterback. Yeah,
we can do that. So we'll see what happens.
Having 2 picks in the top 10, unless you fail miserably, you're going to have one of the best drafts. Like, you're going to get a franchise quarterback or a franchise player, and then the best wide receiver in the draft.
So what
Watch
do they
the Bears
do
take
with
McCarthy at 1.
Oh my gosh.
That would be funny. So what do they do with Justin Fields?
You trade him, get more capital.
Trade him for like a third.
You could easily get a second out of Fields to a team that needs a quarterback.
Maybe you can go the Terrell Pryor route and turn him into a wide receiver.
Send Fields to the Falcons.
I know. Fields to the Falcons would be fun.
Like, Fields to the
I bet the Falcons would give up a second too.
I would in a heartbeat if I was the Falcons. You could probably leverage Fields for a late first round if you threw in something else. But to give up a second for a better quarterback than you're probably going to land in free agency and what you have in your room right now, I would.
So I think the Bears, I'm looking forward to the draft, but I think in terms of who I'm most confident about having a good draft, I mean, it's going to be the freaking Ravens. Like, whenever the Ravens had a bad draft, So as much as I hate it, I mean, the Ravens just always draft well. They're going to take some really good defensive player in the 3rd round that everybody else passed on for no reason.
The Rams.
So that's going to be fun.
Did you guys
Rams actually have a first-round pick now this year. Yeah.
Did you see that video they released about their computer system that does, like, different draft grades than everyone else?
Yeah.
It's absurd. They have this software. I forget. I watched a short video on it. But, like, they ranked Puka as a 7th-round pick or something like that. And they're like... the computer system ranked him in the 5th. Every other team ranked him in the 7th. So the Rams took him in the 5th, and look what that happened.
No.
And it's happened on a lot of their late round picks, that this software that one of the people inside their team developed has just nailed the late round draft picks. So to look out for a curveball from the Rams in the late round, which can work out.
Cool.
They've had a good track record for it too.
Yeah. What are the best quarterbacks from each division?
I'll list off mine super quick unless y'all have yours off the top of your head.
Should we just go division by division and just say our pick?
Yeah.
All right.
AFC East.
Mac Jones. No. Zach Wilson, baby.
I refuse to say Josh Allen. So
it's clearly
Allen.
Josh Allen, though.
It is Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You could say Tua, but it's not Tua.
No, it's not Tua. It's Josh.
I don't want to. I feel like Tua gets a lot of hate all the time, so I don't want to pile in on him. But
I think he's fine, but he's not Josh.
He's not close. Yeah.
AFC North.
Burrow.
Lamar.
I'm also going to go Lamar.
I guess it
Burrow
depends
when
on
healthy.
if we're including Burrow or not. Yeah, I'd still go Burrow, I guess, if he's healthy. But since he's not currently, I'm going to go with Lamar.
Well, yeah, if we're talking about quarterbacks that played in Week 17 or playoffs, it's Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
But fully healthy teams, give me Burrow.
Mitch Trubisky, baby.
Prime Trubisky.
Yeah, I'm still gonna go. I like Lamar a little more than Burrow. I've been in that boat for a while. I like Burrow a lot. I mean, Burrow's he's top 3, so it doesn't. To me,
So
I
is
think
Lamar
you're 2,
top
3,
three?
4. Yeah, I think in my head I would go Mahomes 1, Lamar 2, Burrow 3, Allen 4.
Gotcha.
So, which is probably different from a lot of people, but I would not have said Lamar like 2 years ago. I would have obviously gone Burrow during the Super Bowl run. I really love the strides that Lamar has made as a passer in the last 2 years.
I just want Lamar to win a big game. He can't do it.
Yeah.
I'd give more props to Lamar if he could win games in the playoffs, but he can't.
And my logic with that is give Lamar the receiving core that Burrow had for the Bengals run.
Yeah, but then give him our offensive line is a whole different thing.
But I think, again, you have a scrambling quarterback,
That's true.
So I think there's a lot of – I don't think it's as clear-cut as a lot of people make it. I think there's a lot of nuance. Because a lot of people are very much like Mahomes 1, Allen 2, Burrow 3. And I think there's nuance between
Allen
2, 3,
and Burrow
4.
Switched. 2 and 3 is up in the air depending on the week.
I can definitely tell that there's some AFC North between y'all somewhere. There's something. Yeah, I'm over here just like, who cares? They both play quarterback.
Bringing up the Ravens.
It feels disgusting. All right, I don't feel good about it. I don't like being the Ravens advocate. It makes me kind of like break out in sores.
Then let's go to the next one. AFC South. Yeah, CJ Stroud, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. AFC West.
Juan Tanner, Stroud. Who?
I don't want to be like different. I don't want to be different again.
I wish.
Are you about to say Tannehill? Do not.
No, I'm not going to say Tannehill. I'm going to say Lawrence. T-Law.
I wish we would have seen Richardson a full.
The guy who has the same stats as Mac Jones.
I think if we're taking last year and only last year, it's Stroud. There's something in my brain, and I don't know like why it does this to me. But there's something that just keeps telling me, like, with Trevor Lawrence's physical tools and the way he played at Clemson, I'm like, this dude, like, he's going to be an MVP some year. Like, one of these years it's going to click. Like, it's finally going to happen. I feel like Charlie Kelly with the whiteboard from Always Sunny, like, trying to piece together the Trevor Lawrence MVP season. But there's just something in my brain that tells me it's going to happen one year. And so the potential of Trevor Lawrence to me is higher than the potential of CJ Stroud, so I'm going to take Lawrence. But if we're going based solely on last year, Stroud had the better year, hands down.
Stroud, I think last year was better than almost any of Lawrence's years.
I know, but I'm just like, there's a crazy person
Stroud
in my head.
Could have been in the MVP conversation as a rookie.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But I wish
Tanner just sees sunshine from Remember the Titans.
he just likes the long blonde hair quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But I wish we would have seen Richardson a full year because the 4 weeks he played,
Richardson did look good.
He looked good. He's Cam Newton. He just doesn't know how to get down, and that happens with a lot of rookie quarterbacks. College hits are completely different than NFL hits.
Oh yeah.
Like Burrow, it happened Burrow his rookie year too. He would get laid out.
I hope Richardson develops into Cam Newton though. That'd be much fun.
Sick.
That would be awesome. I miss watching prime Cam Newton.
Me
man.
too. He was that Superman thing. It would make people so mad, but it was so fun to watch. All right, AFC West.
AFC West. Yeah.
Give me Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Aiden McConnell.
Nah, give me Jimmy G, bro. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Jesus.
Yeah, Jimmy the Greek god, bro.
I think
obviously.
We can all agree on this one.
Yeah, it's Mahomes.
Yeah, it's Mahomes. Not even close. NFC East. Who do we have for the NFC East, fellas?
Give me
Jordan,
Sam
I got
Howell.
you. It's Dak. So my real take is it's Dak Prescott.
No, yeah,
Jalen
it's
Hurts
Dak
looked
Prescott.
terrible last year.
Well, week 1 through 10, he looked fine.
Week 1 through 10, he looked fine. But the second half of the year, it was bad. And
Yeah.
So I think there was a fun conversation between Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott
early on
prior to last season, but after what had occurred in the second half of the season, it's clearly Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott, easy.
Cool. Thanks, Joe. NFC North.
Ooh.
Are we doing healthy or not healthy? Because that really changes the answers here. If
Let's
healthy,
do not healthy.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not healthy?
Then I'm going to go with Goff.
Sorry, yeah, like anybody who's a quarterback in the division, despite health.
If any quarterback on the roster, I like Cousins.
Yeah,
I'm
if
with
healthy
Cousins as well.
Yeah. Goff played well, but Cousins was playing better.
If we're excluding injured players, then I'd go Goff. But
yeah, I'm in the same boat. Yeah. Jordan Love could, Jordan Love could potentially pass both of them next year.
It's like your Lawrence thing, Lawrence and Stroud, Goff and Love.
But currently, I think Kirk is the most developed and the best of those quarterbacks.
Yeah. NFC South.
I mean, it's Baker.
It's Baker, baby.
I mean, it's Baker.
Bake.
As much as I wished it was Jameis Winston, it's Baker. You know.
Baker.
NFC West.
I'm gonna go Stafford.
I'm gonna go Stafford. And no disrespect to Brock Purdy, I just think body of work.
Yeah.
I also think Stafford is definitely in a clear above. I think Stafford clearly is better than Brock Purdy. Like, I don't think that
he has the better arm for sure.
Put Stafford on the Niners, and they probably go 15-1 or 16-1.
Dude, imagine the thing with Stafford too is like he's old, man, and he can still fucking like those balls he throws are insane,
bro.
He's just good.
Slings.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting conversation between Stafford and Kyler Murray. But I think it's still Stafford pretty clearly in my head.
Yeah,
it's Stafford.
There was also an additional question from my friend Matt that he texted me, and he asked who can take the most shots between the three of us. I'd like to say that it's me.
Tanner doesn't remember his bachelor party much, but I had quite a few shots at his bachelor party.
Well, how much do you guys weigh?
205.
3.
Okay, I got a solid 10 pounds on you, Jordan. So I think I probably can drink more.
I was president of a fraternity.
Tanner just drinks. What is it, Sliskovitz or whatever?
Slishovitz. It's like plum brandy. It's like from Eastern Europe.
Like
it's from Croatia.
College.
Yeah.
We shall find out Sunday.
Yeah, we'll find out Sunday. We'll put it to the test. But I can. I mean, I definitely am out of my prime. But in college, I mean, it was bad.
Tanner could put it back in college. Every time they show Taylor Swift, we'll take a shot. Or mention Taylor Swift, we could take a shot.
All right, sounds like a plan.
We won't see the second quarter, but that's okay.
Yeah, we'll be blacked out by halftime.
Yeah,
we won't even remember the performance.
Yeah.
And then the last question in our mailbag comes from another friend of mine, Kendall Harper at OMO_Kenny. Who could you see as the Falcons' new quarterback?
Oh, we kind of already answered that.
A little bit. Yeah. Depending on what happens, I'm looking at the free agent list. The free agent list isn't very deep. Cousins is technically a free agent. If they can get Cousins to Atlanta, or even Tannehill as a Band-Aid for a year, it wouldn't be bad. Jameis Winston's a free agent. Drew Lock is a free agent. Gardner Minshew is going to be a free agent.
Bro, Drew Lock would thrive in Atlanta. Not as far as being a football player, but as far as just part of the culture. He would be the token white boy at every cookout.
I like Drew Lock. He's never been given an actual chance to compete because he got thrown into the.
He puts that shit on though.
Yeah. Like he filled in for Geno Smith was like 30-minute warning and went and took down the Eagles when they were actually still kind of good. Like, he was the turning point on the Eagles season. Like, that throw to Njigba to win the game was beautiful.
I will say the one thing I hope Atlanta doesn't do, because I think that Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams both will be drafted before they get to Atlanta's pick, is I hope they don't go with Drake May. I just think that he was too inconsistent last year, and I don't know. I'm not very high on it, and I don't think that's going to be one of those picks that really pans out. And so
I don't think they should go with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And for whatever reason, Drake May just feels like, I mean, maybe it's because they just both went to North Carolina.
Mitchell Trubisky.
It just feels like Trubisky again.
Yeah.
Like, I think teams are going to regret taking him over Penix or
if they could land Penix,
Daniels.
Honestly, the only rookie quarterback I would be fine with going to Atlanta is Michael Penix, just because he is older. Like, he's not a true rookie. It's not a real phrase.
I don't know. I really like the idea of Fields on the Falcons. I think that's a great bridge situation that could potentially result in a franchise guy. So I think you take that.
The Bears I kind of put in the same tier as like the Browns, like with their organization. Like, once you get out of those organizations, you're a much better player.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'd be
especially at quarterback. The Bears will never have a good quarterback. It's just not meant to be.
Besides smoking Jay Cutler, baby.
Bro, Jay Cutler he was such a cowboy killer back in the day, bro. That shit used to piss me off. It'd be like the week before he would throw like 4 picks and then be like, oh, well, he had a bad game before the Cowboys. Time for him to go off for 5 touchdowns and 400 yards or some shit like that.
It was like TJ Yates with the Bengals.
Oh my gosh.
For whatever reason, TJ Yates was dog shit. But whenever he played the Bengals, man.
It's just the Texans.
He just had it circled on the calendar.
The Texans.
Yeah.
We've never been
But TJ Yates specifically, I don't know what that man did. Like, he was like, I don't know if he was like a poacher in his free time and he just saw the Tiger logo and was just like, I gotta go crazy.
He just saw the stripes and he just got red eyes and just coked out.
Oh, man. Well, do y'all have anything else to add for the Atlanta quarterback thing?
No, I think that's it. They need something. You can't stick with Ritter or Heineke.
I agree.
Ritter's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever watched. So
we've watched Nathan Peterman, dude. Come on.
And Zach Wilson.
Nathan Peterman threw 4 picks and a half.
I mean, Nathan Peterman, but Nathan Peterman's in a whole nother level,
true.
you know?
Yeah.
We're talking about like deity type level of bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ritter. Besides that, Ritter's been like in the last couple of years since Peterman, he's been one of the worst. It's between him and Zach Wilson.
Weird. He'll have like a good game and then be bad for like 4 weeks.
It's brutal to watch. Yeah.
But yeah, is that our last question?
That's our last one.
It is.
Wow.
Hey, it's exciting. We had our first fan mailbag. So
thank you.
If anybody who is still with us to the end of this podcast, that's probably a lot longer than it should have been to begin with.
That's okay.
You're more than welcome to tag us on Twitter at @4thdown_pod, like we said at the beginning, and ask us questions, and we will carry these week to week if we need to. But yeah, next week we have the Super Bowl, so that recap is going to be crazy. And the 3 of us will get to meet in person and watch and get drunk. And Tanner will finally understand that I am the greatest shot taker he has ever met.
But yeah, in a couple weeks, we'll have a new segment. So that'll be fun. So to stick around for that. If you follow us,
we're not going to give you too many details.
If you follow us on Twitter, you'll see stuff slowly being released. We had a post today that hinted at something. And this is just to confirm that hint. That something new is coming, and it is very exciting, and it goes on, kind of piggybacks on Tanner's intro for the second half of this episode, that we're trying to build a family and a fun environment for everyone to be around, since we are all in kind of the same league. None of us are experts. We all have opinions.
None of us.
So we're just one big family.
But hey, if Tanner goes 8-0 on these playoff predictions, he's an expert.
He will be, if he goes 8-0, we're
just that easy.
Be emailing every single sports book just to sponsor Tanner.
Oh, man.
No, but definitely stick around. What we're moving towards in the direction of this podcast is going to be a lot of fun. And if it's going to be like these mailbag sections, I think we're going to have a lot more fun on here.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Cool. Thanks, y'all, for listening. We will talk to y'all next week, and we will recap the Super Bowl.
Peace.
Love y'all.
Yeehaw!
Well, I like school, and I like football, and I'm gonna keep doing them both because they make me feel good.